Hey guys, it's post Ohanno. Just wanted to let you guys know that a majority of this episode is really just me talking about my book. We really did not make a lot of ground in this episode, so you guys can go ahead and just wait for the next one to come out, because this one was a little bit boring. But I'll leave it in there for you guys in case you do want to listen to me fucking travel on for like 10 minutes. Anyways, later. But when the central theocracy cuts them off, there's this kind of issue with some of the lords, because the Eastern and Western empires are so spread out sometimes that you can't just have, one crown ruling over everything. There's not enough time to manage it. So you have, kind of like how dukes and duchesses work. But in the book, they're usually just referred to as lords.
They'll probably want to end up keeping those titles as well. And so they'll also probably want to end up keeping those platforms as well.
What do you mean?
They'll want to... Dukes and duchesses, basically, anytime you introduce a system of dukes and duchesses, they want to keep that title. Even though it is a title that is appointed and can be lost.
Yes. So the West is very split on their lordship. Their lordships are... Some of them are kind of like... Some of them are really good at being lords, Some of them kind of stick to the laws. They try their best to try to get communication out to the east, and they try their best to stick to the customs. And then there's other lords who are kind of just like, no, let's just make our own empire and fight back with all we have. And you could argue that either one is good. And there's nothing in their culture that says they can't fight. They're going to fight. But how they manage the fight is different, because the king of the West is dead by, chapter 3, so...
You've got rope, right?
Yeah, I got rope.
Then I don't need to equip mine.
I got 300.
Good. I got close to that.
I'm gonna keep my bug net on me, because we can find worms down there.
Nice. Well, we found plenty of worms, but those are the deadly ones.
Yeah, no, there's little worms you can get from digging.
Yeah. Okay, give me just a second, I'm almost done organizing everything.
Yep.
Rope oil.
And so, one of the lords that we meet very early on is Lord Oso. Lord Chorus Oso. He has a third name, I can't remember for the life of me right now.
Okay.
And then we also... Huh?
I said I'm glad you like the names I came up with.
Yes. And there's another lord... I remember you named the other lord, and I can't remember the name.
Let me see.
Yeah, look in the DMs.
He's the one with the pun name.
Yeah.
Something of Dulls.
Yeah. But that lord we also meet pretty much at the exact same time. Lord Oso is a very wise and a very nice man. Whereas the other lord, he's kind of strict. He's kind of a dick sometimes.
Put the recall potions away. Should I keep that on me?
Keep the recall potions, yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to reduce what I have in my inventory for being able to pick up stuff.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna reduce a few things as well. I've only got a few things to put away though.
Being as I have arrows, I need to be able to craft arrows as we go, so I have to keep at least that supply on me.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I've got free... Actually, no, I've got... Actually, I do eat wood.
Oh, here's another fallen star.
Thank you. Oh, then I'll actually craft that. Actually, jester arrows are something I don't need a crafting table for.
Oh, nice. That's really good.
Well, I don't need a crafting table for arrows.
Yeah. Well, not for those arrows.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, no, the basic arrows I don't need that for. So I think we're good to go. I'm just gonna
Hang on, I'm over by the dungeon. There's another fallen star I wanted to grab.
Okay. Yeah, keep telling us about your story.
And so pretty much in the East, there's 30 lords. I'm not even kidding. There's so many lords. The East is so big.
30 lords?
Yeah, there's 30 lords, and then there's, of course, a king and a queen. Now, there's, 5 lords that don't... There's 5 lords that don't oversee their own part of the kingdom. Those 5 lords are around the king and queen at all times, and they're, the advisors in the court.
Can I clarify something real quick?
What?
Are you going off of a fiefdom system?
A what?
A fiefdom system.
I'm not familiar with the term.
Oh, fiefdom is the idea of when a king knights someone and then gives them a portion of his land and that person rules over that land in helping of the king, and then that person can also knight people and then grant portions of his land, etc. That's what they did in the that's feudalism. That is feudalism.
That sounds accurate. That sounds accurate to how my system
30
works.
lords is not a big number, actually, depending on how big you want your fiefdoms to be. That's one of the downfalls of feudalism, is when you'll get one lord. The lords are basically the knights that fight in the army, and they've been appointed land as reward. A lord has the authority to knight more knights. That lord has the authority to knight more knights, and that lord has the authority to knight more knights. So one of the downfalls of the medieval ages was it got so complicated because there were so many knights knighted by a knight that was knighted by 5 knights before them.
Okay.
That the way it would work is that, one, if you knighted knights, and then the king called you to serve in his army, you could not do that by having your knights serve in your stead.
Okay.
And then those knights could also do that. So the problem is you would eventually have so many drop-downs. Like, imagine, the nobles at the very top that were knighted by the king themselves are the richest of the rich other than the king. But the knight who'd been knighted at the very bottom, there was an actual problem in the medieval ages where the knights at the very bottom almost couldn't afford armor and swords.
Wow.
They were, like, knights are...
So I guess my system doesn't work like that, but that's like a good building block.
Yeah, no, for you to understand, I'm not in any way saying that you shouldn't do it that way, because again, you don't have to follow historical standards at all. You want 30 fiefdoms? Have 30 fiefdoms. That's entirely good.
I left something very important out. I should note that each lord's spouse is also a lord.
Ooh, so their partner is also a lord. Nice.
Yes.
Very forward thinking of that kingdom.
Yes, it's a very open society. Even the theocracy has a pretty open, non-separated thing like that.
Now, do you have a cool cultural or in-story explanation for why? Because sexism towards women is unfortunately a historical constant.
Yes.
It's very strange from a modern perspective. It's like, you're inferior. Why? Because you can't hunt. But what?
What are you doing?
I thought we were gonna dig.
Yeah, you're just digging all over the place, though. Why aren't you building, like, a staircase?
Oh, because I'm also trying to dig above us so that there's, like, a roof.
Oh, yeah, don't worry about that. I'll get the roof. I'll get the roof. You just
I'll dig down, you dig up. There you go. Ooh, rock. This is what I need for my arrows.
Yep. Don't worry, we'll be seeing plenty of it, so don't worry about singling it out right now.
No, I'm just trying to make it so that we don't get stuck like I am on my nose right now.
Ooh.
My face.
But so, Kaianism, as it's called, I'll probably think of a better name later on, which is kind of like, more or less the religion of Kaian, which is the species that is mostly dominant in the East and West empires.
Oh, okay, that's a new detail.
And so, like, the theocracy is just humans, and they see Kaian as demons, or, like, just monsters that need to be eliminated.
Canonically, are they, or are you not ready to say that yet?
No. Kaian are in no way. They were technically created as a different form of human.
By the gods, I'm guessing?
By the Keeper.
Oh, yeah.
He himself is pretty much a god.
But it's interesting to see books explore things other than gods in their stories.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, there's, like, multiple, worshipped gods in my book, but the only one that's ever actually shown is the Keeper.
Okay.
And Cyril, but not necessarily the same thing.
From your point, are there gods that do exist in the world, though?
There are entities that are powerful, but I would not put anything on the same pedestal as the Keeper and Cyril.
Okay.
Those two are pretty much like gods, and everything else is lesser than them, I would imagine.
So I'll clarify something again. Within Christianity, there is no higher form or power than God, but in Dungeons & Dragons, to make a reference to it, there are several tiers of power and being well above God. Not God Big G as in God Yahweh, but like the tier of God.
Right. No,
They're, like,
I do know that. I do know that. I don't follow Dungeons and Dragons, but I do know that from hearing it from other people.
yeah, there's like elementals, which are the primordial element.
Right, and you can't get like any more pure than them or something like that.
And then there's one thing above elemental, I think. And then the weird thing is, to finish the reference, is that there are creatures that are older than gods and elementals, but don't technically fit on that tier of power, even though they're older. And one of these creatures is on that tier of not as powerful because they just don't care. They literally are older and stronger in some ways than the gods and the elementals. They just don't care to do so. So that's also.
So, when Kyan were created, they were created as... Well, oh shit, guns scout. Oh shit, I'm gonna get out of here, I'm gonna die.
I'm gonna die too.
Get out of there. No!
I'm trying. No, I kept jumping.
Oh, I just barely killed it.
Well, maybe we should, create a door so that only we can get down this.
Yeah.
So that we're not backwards got like that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be back.
Yep. I guess I'll fish or something, keep talking. So, I can't really explain what the what Kyanism is exactly, because I don't have it 100% patented down yet. But it's kind of close to a mix of like I would kind of compare it to like Catholic or Christianity, something along those lines. You know, heavy faith in their one true Lord or whatever.
Get inside.
Huh?
The thing got inside the house again.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, I just watched it open the door.
It's so strange. It's got to be the difficulty since we're on expert. That's got to be it.
I don't think Frostburn arrows actually freeze them. I think it does more burning damage. It does 2 burning damage instead of 1.
Interesting.
But I think they're just better fire arrows.
Okay.
So more. I mean, that gives me an incentive to make them.
Yeah.
Either way. They do more damage. And they do 2 burn instead of 1.
But a large majority of Kyan are actually... They believe that the Keeper exists, because some of them have actually met him. But they don't worship him.
Usually.
Huh?
That's a good reason to believe in something usually.
Yeah, usually. But so Kyanism is close to, like, Christianity. You know, they've got, like, one Lord. He's the ultimate, you know. That's all I'm gonna say, because I don't really have much more developed for it. But they do worship the Keeper. And when they worship the Keeper, they build shrines, or they build giant temples, because there are a few temples. There are like 3... There's 2 temples that are like considered the biggest, the baddest temples. You know, they're the big boy temples. There's technically a 3rd one, but it's off limits to a majority of Kyan, on the grounds that you cannot enter there unless you are holy enough to do so.
Oh, that's like old
Judaism. There's certain places in Judaism that you can't do that.
Yeah. That's the shroud that was torn when Jesus died on the cross.
And that place is actually a mountain that is called Cape Loren. It's a very peculiar mountain. I'll discuss that later, because that has its own interesting backstory. But besides Kyanism, other Kyan are more or less agnostic, but it's a form of agnosticism. I did not say that right, but you know what I mean.
Agnosticism, yeah.
Where they believe that the Keeper exists, they've seen the Keeper, or at least some of them have, but they don't believe that he's, like, the top of the food chain. They don't believe that he is God with a capital G.
Well, technically God with a capital G refers to the literal deity that calls himself God.
True. And the Keeper doesn't ever say that he's a god. but people worship him as if he is one.
Now, is it that he lets them, as in he's like, I mean, there's some perks to this, or does he let them as in he just doesn't stop them?
He doesn't stop them. And there's several Celtic... Okay, Celtic's the wrong word. There's certain Celtic-esque versions of Kaianism where they try to summon him. As if he was like an entity that you could say like some weird words and he would appear.
He's far beyond that, I'm guessing.
He's far beyond that. Sometimes he does just mess with them, but...
He's got a sense of humor.
He actually does. He has a very good sense of humor.
Can he take a joke?
Yes, he can take a joke. He's not very wrathful. Actually, he's not wrathful in any way possible. But...
Does he know when to stand up for himself, though?
He does.
I'm guessing at his level of power, he doesn't need to all that much.
Yeah, I suppose that's the way you could put it. But also, he is probably equally as two-faced as the main antagonist in the book.
Oh.
Yeah. At least towards the main character. So, when Zykiel was reborn, he was reborn by the Keeper, of course. And so, long story short, Zykiel, when he was a human, different name, haven't decided what it was. Maybe I'll just leave it ambiguous. No one ever knows his old name. He died in battle or something, and the Keeper seized his soul and gave him a choice. To continue and be trained and be alive and lead on this thing that the Keeper teaches him. And he agrees, and so he exists. What was my point? I actually lost my point.
I don't know.
Oh, my point was that the Keeper is two-faced. Okay, so when the Keeper
there you go.
talks and trains Zykiel, he does it with his real face. He does it speaking to him as he would any normal person. Like, he's nice to him, he's kind to him, he's human for a higher being. Yeah, he's oddly human.
Does he qualify as a higher being, or is he a being with a lot of power?
He qualifies as a higher being now.
Did you see the difference that I'm saying? There's
yes,
a wizard
no,
with lots of power,
I understand what you mean.
An ascended being, or a higher being.
He is ascended, we'll say. He's ascended. He's not simply one with a lot of power, he is something that can transcend a lot of other things, so he is ascended.
Okay. Kind of like laws of physics, laws of shemisics.
Sure.
Something like that.
Yeah. And so, the Keeper is just himself around Zykiel. But when he speaks to the protagonist, which, by the way, nerd alert here, the protagonist is me, Ohanno,
nice, you did that.
But he's a Kaian, so he's a white wolf, of course. When he first sees Ohanno, so there's this thing, there's this certain ability that certain people have, and it's not something that you're born with, it's something that you can acquire, but it takes a lot. And sometimes when you're born with certain attributes, it does increase your odds of ever seeing it or unlocking it, but it's pretty much a way to talk to the Keeper. And any Kaian can, but few have the mastery to do so. And one of the ways to unlock this is to have or gain the ability to use a sacred weapon, or sacred tool, because they are different. A sacred weapon is something that was created and blessed by Zykiel himself. And these weapons have no form. They're actually like, if you were to look at them when they are doing nothing, they are liquid. But through the control of someone who can properly use one, it can be whatever he imagines it to be, within the laws of physics and conservation of mass, because you can't like make like a bustard sword if you only got like a few drops of the damn thing.
Okay.
And usually these would take a basic form where they would like sit kind of like a statue. Okay, okay. So they would look like a normal weapon, and they could function as a normal weapon, but they would only change shape if someone could control.
Made out of this, it's still gonna hurt.
Huh?
If I hit you with a stick made out of this stuff, it's still gonna hurt.
Yes.
whether I have the ability to like wield it magically or not. It's
Right.
I just smack you with it.
But if you wield it magically, you can change its shape. And these usually were always staffs. There was only one that was not a staff, but it was lost.
Terrarian shape.
Yeah. It's also a very peaceful shape.
Yeah, you don't intrinsically think I'm gonna hit. It's your choice. Are you gonna smack someone with it, or are you using it as a shepherd's rod?
You could do both.
No, that's the point. Yeah, that's what I was saying is my like example.
Yeah.
Oh dang it, some eyes.
And oh hey, you're 2,000 feet away. Nice.
Yeah, I waited a bit. It became night day, and then it's night again.
I figured. And so when Ohanno unlocks.
Oh, you call him Ohanno, super cool.
Yeah, now I am, because I've actually referenced that he is me. It's kind of weird talking in third person like that.
That's fine.
It's not necessarily third person because I'm referencing him and not me, but same name. Kind of weird.
I respect the compliment.
So when he unlocks the ability, and he unlocks it by having this absurd need/want in a certain moment to protect one of the people who tries to save him from captivity in like chapter 1 or whatever. And he grabs the weapon just thinking it's a weapon. Like, he just thinks it's a weapon. Nothing special about it. He just grabs it and he's gonna whack someone with it.
Oh, so he's wielding it out of honest insincerity.
Yeah. And he goes... So, there's this guy and his name is Ricky. And people just call him Rick. And he is the guy who breaks everyone out. Oh, okay, no, sorry. Great Gar is the guy who breaks everyone out. Ricky is kind of like his accomplice, and he helps it. So, Gray is a Cayenne, but he hides himself as a human amongst the humans to get back into the castle to free them, and then Ricky leads them out. That's kind of the course of action. So Ricky gets cornered by a knight that's not Tokar, so he tries to kill him. And in that moment to try to save Ricky, Ohanno unknowingly activates the weapon's power.
Wow, bugger! The thing just jumped to me 3 times in a row and killed me.
Yeah. And he actually turns it into a sword. And the sword pierces straight through, like clean through the knight's full armor. Like, I mean, without, like knife through butter. Like, that's how good those weapons are. And in doing that, well, one, he passes out, but in a dream sequence, which is very, very short, and it never really reveals anything immediately, it's just kind of like something's going on here. Ohanno is in this location where there's nothing around him. It's like whiteness. And like a split second after he sees this whiteness, he goes like, he kind of like falls to his knees, and this area, this zone, whatever this place is affecting him in such a way that it's causing him to feel pain and fear and loneliness to a degree that you could not possibly understand.
Quick point, can you tell me when it's day again so I can leave? I'm in the respawn zone.
Okay. And in the dream sequence, he hears behind him someone say, "Interesting." And it's just the one word, and he tries to turn around to see who it is, and the only thing he catches are 2 glints of white before his vision and his consciousness fades again. And then the next he wakes up in a hospital or whatever. Well, not a hospital, but you know what I mean. A medical area.
It'd still be called hospitals.
Would it? Would it still be called a hospital? I didn't know that.
Well, okay, there would have been I don't know if there was a medieval word for it, but you could still call it a hospital.
I know that there's like medieval words for like smaller versions of hospitals.
Yeah, so like it would still be, hospitals kind of evolved over time, but you can still call it a hospital.
Okay, that's good to know. Because like every time I wrote hospital down, I was like, it just doesn't feel like that's what they would say.
You can give it a in-culture name where it's like a Hagsum home. Like Hagsum means medicine, so a Hagsum home is literally just medicine home.
Right. That's like its literal meaning.
Something like what?
That's like its literal meaning, and that could be a place that could be used in its place.
Or hospitals, or you can create like something like medicine house. You could literally just call it the medicine house, the town's medicine house.
Yeah, I could do that.
Like almost like a boarding house is where many people can live. So a medicine house is a place where many people can go for medicine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I might do that.
So, semantically speaking, you could do all three of them. Call it a hospital, call it a Hagson home, or call it a medicine house.
That would work. But anyways, that's like the first instance where he's ever in contact with the Keeper. And throughout the book, he gets in contact more with the Keeper. But when the Keeper talks to him, first of all, the Keeper usually wears, like, he's actually usually seen with, like, they would call it ancient clothing, but imagine, like,
a t-shirt and jeans?
No, not a t-shirt and jeans. Imagine, like, a button-up shirt, and a bow tie.
Oh yeah, didn't this whole world have a regression in history type thing? Where, like,
yes, it did.
Collapsed?
Because they're...
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
This is the world with the Leviathan thing?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I love that concept, like, oh yeah, no, the ancients, it's a polo.
Yeah. It's just, like, he still looks nice. He looks snazzy, but he's not quite what everyone else looks like. But when he talks to Ohanno, he's got kind of like a double-breasted suit on almost.
Oh, wow.
And it's like really tight on him. Like it doesn't look like it's small for him. It's like tight. You know what I mean? Like it looks like it's very well tailored. And
I would say that are the original Star Trek outfit, but you wouldn't get that reference.
No, I wouldn't. For anyone watching, if that's an accurate thing of what I'm saying, there you go.
The outfits were so tight that sometimes they were 2 sizes too small, and the cast genuinely complained constantly about them. But that's because the creator of the show wanted the outfit to look futuristic, and his idea of this was for the outfit to be very skin tight, which is technically accurate for a science fiction setting.
Oh yeah, I would agree.
Like, well, at least, and so the original Star Trek was decently early on in their history of space travel, so it's still very utilitarian.
Yeah.
Even though it's also...
What was I? Oh, right. So he's dressed differently, and also the Keeper wears glasses, but not when he's with Ohanno. Which, I mean, he doesn't require glasses. That's just the form he's most comfortable with.
I see.
Because that's what he was at one point. And when he talks to Ohanno, he has a mysteriousness about him that he doesn't when he talks to other people. Like, he implies more things. He has hidden truths in what he says. He's more mysterious. Like, if you were to talk to him like that, you would question whether or not you could believe or trust him.
Yeah,
even though it could be proven that what he's saying is true. And there's a very, very precise reason for this.
Ohanno is the seed.
What?
My guess was the idea that Ohanno is him.
No. I did, like, when I was first drafting, like, the idea of the Keeper, I had this thought that there was, like, another entity in the world that was actually, like, his soul carrier. So, like, his physical form has a soul carrier, and it just wanders, immortal. But it's, like, separate from his all-knowing entity.
So his physical form is existing somewhere, corporeally immortal.
Yes.
That's super cool.
Yeah, that was a thought.
I'm offended, but my body has taken the name of Bob. I visit him on Tuesdays.
Oh, that'd be great. I haven't decided if I want to go that direction. So far, I'm leaning against it, but it was a good idea at the time, anyway. But so and actually, Zykiel asks him this. He asks him,
Slime again.
Huh?
Another slime banner.
Nice.
I think.
Huh?
I think.
What was that?
I said I think. I don't see it.
No. Should be in your inventory somewhere. It might be different because it's an umbrella slime.
Yeah, no, it was the umbrella slime.
Nice. But, so, there's this moment where the Keeper asks Ohanno a very important question, and during that, he kind of, like, freezes time all around Ohanno. Like, I mean, if you ask me, it's more like he's increasing Ohanno's ability to move and interact with the world in a way that is incomprehensibly fast. That's the way that I'm putting it, but for layman's terms, he freezes the world around him. And it's like this really cinematic scene where like it's Ohanno and then like a bunch of his friends are like in a fight or something's going on. And so there's like these frozen images of his friends, and the Keeper's like mysteriously walking around and disappearing behind all of them as they're walking around. Or he's walking around them, disappearing, being all mysterious and shit.
What would be great is if every so often he was the face of the friends.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Where like, the Keeper walks away out of his vision. Ohanno hears a voice, turns around, and the Keeper's face is now moving on the completely still body of his friend. And then it's the other friend behind him now, and then the other friend.
That would be interesting. I might do that. That sounds really cool.
If it gets turned into a movie, that would be a really gross scene.
Oh, yes, it would, but it would be so cool.
Now, here's an even weirder and grosser version. When he hears the voice the first time, he turns around only to see the lips of the face moving, but then sees the Keeper's face kind of morph out of or into
that
the
would
face.
be fucked up, but it'd be awesome.
The lips are moving of his friend, and then there's the Keeper. His face. Not the whole body, just the face of his friend is now the Keeper.
That would be cool. But to continue that, Zykiel is also there. So at this point, Zykiel's like, what, 1,600 years old? Zykiel, okay, so let me say this. The lifespan of people is anywhere between like 130 to about just under 200. I'm not going to go into more detail than that, but that just keep that as a rule.
Creatures.
Huh?
People or the creatures?
People and Cayenne and creatures have an extended lifetime as well. Not as high as that, though.
Okay.
So, Zykiel is also there, but Zykiel is immune to, well, he's not really immune, but he's kind of linked to the Keeper in certain ways, because he's the first Cayenne. And he's actually not frozen, but he acts like he is.
Oh.
And there's like this little moment where Ohanno questions it because he thinks he sees him move.
He sees him blink?
Not blink, he just like moves, or maybe his eyes move like a very slight amount. And he like notices it, but he just shrugs it off.
Notice me, senpai. Notice me.
But after Ohanno is done talking with the Keeper, so Ohanno is now affected by the freeze as well. But Zykiel isn't, and so they talk for a second. And Zykiel asks a simple question. He just asks, why are you so different when you're talking to him and not me? And Zykiel fully trusts the Keeper. There is not a doubt in his mind that the Keeper is truthful with him, but he's curious, of course. And without turning to him, he says that when I created you, you needed me to just be me. But he needs me to be something else.
That's a really good reason.
Yes.
Also a very empathetic reason.
Yes.
Depending, well, maybe. It's empathetic or perhaps manipulative.
It's a little bit of both. I will admit that it's a little bit of both. Because the Keeper knows that Ohanno will go the path that he needs him to go, with help. But he knows that Ohanno needs to follow his own path, and not something that he sets upon him, like he did Zykiel. And so he's kind of manipulating him in a way that he wants Ohanno to question himself, and then make choices based off of that, instead of what he straight out tells him.
He's pulling an Obi-Wan.
Yes. I love Star Wars.
Oh, good. So you may not know Star Trek, but you do know Star Wars.
I do know Star Wars. I don't know it very well, but I do enjoy it.
Do you know the greater expanded lore?
No.
Okay. Great. Oh! Ooh. There you go. More stuff I can talk about with you.
Yes. We'll do that off camera though. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of videos that people can see that. And so that's kind of where the conversation ends there. But in that way, the Hebrews